think we have it there. Okay, wonderful. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. My name is Jackie Steele. I am the co-chair for the Lesbian and Gay Advisory Board for the City of West Hollywood. We come here today not out of want, but out of need, out of a necessity to come together and rally for reproductive rights across this country. We need your support, and we need every single person stepping up to ensure that our rights are not rolled back, that we can maintain our dignity and our access. This movement is crucial. The time is now, and we cannot afford to take one more step backwards. So thank you again, and we hope that you message this out loud, far, and wide. And at this time, I'd like to welcome up to join us at the podium, Mayor Lindsay Horvath.
I wish I could say I was happy to see everyone here today, but I'm not. I wish we didn't have to be here, but we do. We must be here because action is necessary, and what happened today in Texas is an outrage. It is unconscionable in this country that is on a trajectory towards freedom and justice for all, towards inclusivity. Today, women were told they would be hunted in this country simply for seeking access to health care. It is unconscionable. We are gathered here today in West Hollywood, America's first pro-choice city. We declared our city pro-choice because we need to keep ourselves safe. And unfortunately, we know today better than ever that we are under attack. And I guess what I can say also is that for once they're finally being honest. This isn't about protecting life. This isn't about protecting children. This law doesn't guarantee a livelihood for young people. This doesn't guarantee young mothers health care and access and support and resources. This law hunts women after 6 weeks of pregnancy to ensure that no matter what, even if their lives are at stake, even if their pregnancy is the product of rape or incest, that they have no options, no safe space, no resource, no one that they can turn to, no one that they can trust. That's what this law does. After 6 weeks of pregnancy, when most women don't even know that they're pregnant, after 6 weeks of pregnancy, women no longer have a safe space in the state of Texas. Not only do they not have a safe space, their support networks are also targeted. Their friends, their family, people like you and me that they would turn to ask for resources, just to ask questions. Their medical healthcare providers, their doctors, they can't even have this conversation without feeling that someone is going to threaten their safety. In fact, people are incentivized to threaten them with $10,000 from the government. $10,000 incentive for people to turn on women, to make access to healthcare less safe. And we know that this will not end women pursuing abortions. This will not end women seeking out their options. It will only make it increasingly less safe, increasingly more dangerous, increasingly more expensive. This will devastate the lives of women, of all people who are able to become pregnant, of BIPOC women, women who are impoverished, women we know, women who deserve our support, who deserve our help, who deserve our resources. But now we're targeted too, because if we engage in those services, we can then become targeted if we engage with the state of Texas. But that doesn't mean we're going to be afraid here, not in West Hollywood. Today, we stand strong with the people who are fighting back against this unjust law, who are speaking out against what it means, because we know the majority of Texans do not support this law. We know that the majority of Texans believe that women deserve the right to all forms of health care. They deserve access, they deserve safe spaces, they deserve resources, they deserve supportive circles. They don't deserve to be attacked. So here in West Hollywood, we stand with them today in this moment, but we also welcome them to West Hollywood to be able to seek those services, to be able to seek that care, to be able to receive those resources, to know that we are a safe space for all women, all people who are seeking every form of reproductive health care, including all forms of abortion, that they can come to West Hollywood and find a safe space, find a community that will care about them, and find the health care and services that they need. We're here today because elections have consequences, and in this case, the consequences are dire. Women's lives will literally be at stake, and they hang in the balance as a result of this law. And we say that this is the result of an election because the U.S. Supreme Court has changed as the result of a recent election. And the U.S. Supreme Court, their silence is deafening. It is unconscionable to think that our U.S. Supreme Court is not fighting for the lives of people who are seeking access to health care in our country. So we are here today to speak out, to say we are standing watch, and this will not continue so long as we are here to fight back. We stand strong with the people of Texas who are fighting back. We also stand strong in our upcoming election. We will not allow California to have a governor that stands against women's rights to access free health care, to access all forms of health care. We will not stand for allowing California to have a governor that believes what this Texas law believes, that women don't deserve a right to have a job, or to have safe spaces, or to have community, or a family that supports them in all their choices. We will stand strong here in West Hollywood. We will stand strong in California. We are here to speak out, and we will continue to fight back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Horvath. Please join me in welcoming now Mayor Pro-Temp Lauren Meister.
Good afternoon, everyone. The city of West Hollywood, as you've heard, was the first city in the nation to declare itself pro-choice, and the city has continually supported state and federal legislation protecting and advancing women's reproductive rights and access to health care. But while we keep moving forward, there are those who would like to see us go backwards. Lawmakers in red states across the country are staging an outright attack on women's rights and the right to choose. They are doing so under the guise of being pro-life. But the reality is, this is not about saving lives. This is about controlling the lives of women and girls by taking away women's right to choose. The hypocrisy of these handmaid's tale politicians is astounding. They don't support affordable health care or birth control or sex education in our schools. They don't legislate provisions to care for a child whose parents are unable to take care of them, only that they be born. They establish extreme punishments for women who abort and the doctors who provide health care for them, but not the boys or men who impregnate them. They legislate to restrict women's ability to get an abortion, yet won't legislate common sense gun laws or mask laws, which would protect children whose lives they say they care so much about. Talk about a dystopian society. The Texas bill, this bill, SB 8, is one of the most frightening yet. It narrows the window for legal abortions to an unrealistic time frame, and it encourages private citizens to essentially become bounty hunters. And the Supreme Court, as the mayor said, their silence is deafening as its members sit back and watch women's constitutional rights taken away in plain sight. So this is a call for action. President Biden, we need to expand the Supreme Court now. Senate Majority Leader Schumer, we need to get rid of the archaic filibuster now. U.S. Attorney General Garland, we need you to protect voting rights and the reproductive rights of women now. Let's support the ACLU. Let's support Planned Parenthood. Let's support the women and girls of Texas and other states. Remember, the rights you save may be your own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Meister. Please welcome Councilmember Sepi Shyne.
Hi, everyone. You know, the last time I was at this podium, I was speaking about immigrants' rights at the Lights for Liberty event when the former Trump administration was caging children, instituting archaic actions against immigrants who were seeking asylum in our country. Well, I was an immigrant that sought asylum in this country as a refugee when my parents and I escaped a war-torn country when I was 5 years old of Iran. And what happened in Iran when the Islamic regime took over, I'm having flashbacks and it's very scary. Women's rights were wiped away in the blink of an eye. I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale because it's traumatic for me to watch it. What's more traumatic is what happened in Texas, not only with this ban on abortions at 6 weeks, when women don't even know you're pregnant at that point. So it's basically a ban on abortions, period. What's happening is bad for women. What's happening is bad for LGBTQ people. Don't think for a second that we're not next, because we are. What's happened to immigrants is appalling, and we all need to continue to fight. We need to all vote right now because we have an election in this state that is meant to turn our state more conservative. And it is a direct threat to women, LGBTQ people, BIPOC individuals, immigrants, and all marginalized people. I wore my RBG mask, and what we all need to do is we need to be RBG. Before she was even on the Supreme Court, she fought so much for women. She argued that not only the loss of women's rights was bad for women, it was also bad for men. And believe me, what's happening in Texas is bad not only for women, LGBTQ, but for men. It doesn't make sense that a conservative regime wants to throw children in cages and separate them from their families, wants to take away money for the impoverished from children, and yet is pro-life and wants to take away choice from women. And what's really scary is not only will women be hunted for this, with this $10,000 incentive, but anyone who aids and helps a woman get an abortion. Women that need to come here and have a safe place are always welcome in West Hollywood. And we need to fight, we need to stand up, and we need to be RBG, and we need to dissent. And that is what we are doing in West Hollywood. We are dissenting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Shyne. Please join me in welcoming former Councilmember Abbe Land.
Woo! Thank you so much, and I couldn't be prouder of my city council and of the city of West Hollywood. This is an extraordinary place because we always stand up for folks that sometimes can't stand up for themselves. We are a pro-choice city. We are a pro-people city. We are a city that will fight for what's right. And right now, we have to fight like we have never fought before. Yes. These council members, our mayor pro tem, Sepi Shyne, has told us that these are unprecedented times. These are times when we should be moving forward. We should be moving to the next level of inclusiveness, of all of us together, of health care for all. And instead, we are moving backwards. The state of Texas truly is just one example. Voting rights are at risk all across this nation. Why? Because they don't want us to vote. They don't want people who believe in the right things to vote. And health care, not being able to get the kind of health care you need, for women not to be able to get an abortion when they determine that is the best thing for them and their families, that is heinous. Heinous to not give us that right. Heinous to take away a future of women who could go on to do so many things but can't do it because suddenly they have to take care of a child that they will love and care for, but that was not their plan. And we are looking at people who say they are pro-life. They are not pro-life. That is a fallacy. That is a vicious, vicious lie, because they do not care about the babies that are born. They do not care about the people that are providing health care. They kill doctors. They kill people who are just providing health care. They do not care about life. They only care about making sure that they hold women back, that they hold people of color back, that they hold people who believe that all of us should be equal, that all of us have rights, and that this is a country that could aspire to be the best. They don't want that. They want people that are pushed back, kept down, and these are the kind of laws that do it. So I too say a call for action. Vote in our recall. The recall against Governor Newsom is a recall that matters, because if we lose, we don't just lose in California. That will start something all across this country. We need to vote, and we need to continue to fight for voters' rights all across this country, and we need to continue, never take it for granted. We see how it's being ripped away from us. Women's rights, abortion when you want it, all of our freedoms, we will continue to fight. And I thank you for being here, and I thank the City of West Hollywood for hosting this.
Thank you, Abbe. That's what's really amazing about the history of the city and the future of this city, is that we know where we need to go. But I actually want to talk to the fellas out there. Guys, this is about our sisters. This is about our daughters, our mothers, and their bodies. And we know, guys, that the women in our lives deserve to have control of their own bodies. We are 49% of the population. We need to vote like we love the women in our lives. Thank you.
Say it with me. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Her body, her choice.
Her body, her choice.
But we've been having women come to Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles from Texas for years. We have at least one person come every week from across the country in the United States to Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles for abortion. This is not new, this idea that women travel. This is not new.
It took a long time for us to get Title IX, and I feel like all those accomplishments are going back. And also, this is criminalization, and SB 8 is the modern day Handmaid's Tales. I did watch the first season, and I was excited to read and see, but I'm afraid that the Handmaid's Tale is becoming our reality, and I don't want that to be our reality. I'm highly concerned about all women. I am also really concerned about Black women and Black girls, because we know historically that having abortion access is limited. Having access, having the economic, being in the socioeconomic class to be able to pick and choose, and being able to go away into access of those services. So I am here in solidation with everyone here. Black Women for Wellness will continue to be supportive of every organization and of this fight that we have. This is a fight, and we have to show them that we have grit. We have to let them know that we are smart and that we're here and we have the tenacity to outlast them in their ploys. Thank you.
Joining us now is civil rights attorney Lisa Bloom.
Thank you, Sepi, Shyne, WeHo City Council member, for inviting me and everybody in the city of WeHo. It's time to get mad. It's time to say hell no. It's time to say that the Constitution still matters. I'm an attorney. I represent victims of discrimination, harassment, and abuse, mostly rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment. What do we do when the law itself has become an instrument of abuse? That's really a new one on me when we're talking about the rights of women. But that's what's happened beginning today in the state of Texas. I have news for the state of Texas. Roe v. Wade is still the law of the land. I have news for the state of Texas. Women still have equal rights under the law of the land of the Constitution. Roe v. Wade, which has been the law since 1973 and is still the law today, says that women have a fundamental constitutional right to have an abortion. A fundamental constitutional right. And I learned that in law school back in the 1980s, that was built on other fundamental constitutional rights, like the right to use birth control, like the right to control our own sexuality. It was built step by step until the court decided in 1973, which has been upheld again in 1989 in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and many cases since, that women, and I would say now more appropriately pregnant people, have the right to choose whether or not to terminate a pregnancy. Where is the Supreme Court? Why are they asleep? Why are they ducking this issue in the middle of the night? Why are they afraid to take a stand? Where are the federal courts in the state of Texas? Where are the state courts in the state of Texas? This is a blatantly unconstitutional law. Here's what happened before Roe v. Wade. Women died. Girls died. They had back alley abortions. They tried to do it at home. They went to somebody that they found somehow who had no idea what they were doing. They got infections and they died. And that's what's going to happen again with this new law, because women and girls are terrified. Who's going to die in the state of Texas? It's not going to be wealthy pregnant people. They can always get on a plane or drive their car and go somewhere hundreds of miles away. The people who are going to die are going to be teenage girls, victims of rape or incest, because there is no exception in the law for victims of rape or incest, working class pregnant people, poor people, people of color. They are going to die until the courts step up and recognize that Roe v. Wade is still the law of the land. Shame on the Supreme Court, and especially those 3 Donald Trump appointees who have been afraid to take a public position. Why? Because they know what the backlash is going to be. They're acting like political actors instead of judges. Judges are supposed to make those hard decisions instead of just ducking in the middle of the night and saying, we're not going to deal with this. We're not going to take a look at it. Now, let's talk about, since I'm a lawyer, I have to talk about the legal parts, and I agree with what everybody has said about all the other parts. This nonsense about empowering private citizens from anywhere to bring a lawsuit for $10,000 plus attorney's fees. Are you kidding me? I prosecute lawsuits every day right here in LA and New York and all over the country for sexual harassment. I can't sue somebody who aids and abets sexual harassment. I can't get $10,000 plus attorney's fees for somebody who actively helps somebody sexually harass somebody in the workplace. And there's lots of people who do that. I'm not allowed to sue them. But you're allowed to sue the Uber driver, or God forbid, the mother, or the best friend, or somebody who just gives somebody advice. You know what I think you could do? I think you could go to Memphis. I think you could go to Little Rock. I think you can go to WeHo, because it's one of the best places in this country. I think you could go to New York. That person's going to get sued for $10,000. I thought the right wing didn't like lawsuits. I thought the right wing thought we are a litigation happy culture, and these trial lawyers are ruining everything in the country. I guess they really like lawsuits now, because they call this the private attorney general. Why are we empowering private Karens to bring these lawsuits? Why is it that the officials in the state of Texas don't have the guts to stand up and bring these cases themselves? Because they know what the political backlash would be, just like the courts know. And so they're all hiding behind this law. And you know what? There's already hotlines that are set up for people to call and rat out their neighbors. Is this the America we want to live in? I say hell no. If you agree with me, please say hell no. Hell no. Is this acceptable? Hell no. Is this consistent with our Constitution? Hell no. We won't take it. We're going to continue to fight. And I appreciate everybody who turned out today to support pregnant people, to support the right to choose. God bless all of you.